honey.
Hello everyone.
Welcome back. For those of you that don't know, we are two sisters that have dual citizenship and we currently live in Sicily.
We are in Illinois. We came home for the holidays. Well, not really for the holidays, but we came home
for a funeral.
We will be flying back to Sicily in a couple of days.
2 days. So this video is a little different from our previous videos that we have done.
We're going to be telling you the story of how my phone was stolen. Okay, so the way this story starts out, we were in Palermo Saturday night because I had an interview that night. If you had seen in our previous video, you would see that we walked the Christmas markets, I had the interview, and we just had a really nice time that night. So we were already in Palermo. We had plans to meet up with an American friend of ours whose name is Emily, and we're using fake names by the way.
Here, yes.
So we're gonna call her Emily and her cousin Vincenzo.
After your job interview, we met up in Palermo.
They had also a friend of Vincenzo's, the key right here, Antonino. He was there with them as well. We kind of walked around a little bit, did a little sightseeing. They told us like some history behind like the cathedral.
Like we were just hanging out.
Then we were gonna go back to their town, which is about a 10-minute drive from our town. And the only way we could have gotten there was by train, but we've been told not to take the train late at night, like in the Palermo station.
They were saying it's not safe.
Yeah.
We just went with our American friend Emily back to her town.
We wanted to get dinner together, so we went to a tiny little pub slash restaurant.
It was just 2 rooms, one area where like the pub was,
like the bar.
And the other room, just like 3 tables where you would sit and eat.
Yeah, and there was a sofa in that room as well. So we had hung out with this group before, so we knew like quite a bit of people that were already in the restaurant. There weren't that many people in the restaurant at all though. There was just like the pub owner, his brother, an elderly lady.
She's like the owner's mom.
I think she's the owner's mother.
The town's very small, it's like up in a mountain.
There's only like a population of 3,000 people. Everyone basically knows everyone. There was like around 4 or 5 other people in the room besides us and like the pub owner. We knew everyone except for 2 people. The person who actually stole my phone, we're gonna call him Bruno. Another person who we didn't know, his name was Mario.
Bruno was 24, Mario was 19.
Those 2 guys and like 3 other guys were playing cards when we first got there. Before we could get a table, they had like told us, we're playing cards, can you guys be quiet? Like we're trying to focus here. So like whatever, we just ignored them.
They weren't nice at all to begin with, so we just got our table.
We were sitting at the table like eating, laughing, talking. Our American friend Emily, she's from New York, so we were like joking around about like our different accents, how we have like the Midwestern accent and she has like the New York accent. At one point though, while we were
eating dinner, I left mine on like a little
side end table.
And then Antonino was like, pick up your phone, it's not safe, I don't trust. And he did point to Bruno.
He pointed to
Bruno.
I
don't trust him, like just pick up your phone, keep it near you.
Keep an eye on your phone.
Because I didn't have a pocket, I didn't have my purse on me, and he's like, do you want me to hold it? And I'm like, no, it's okay, I got it.
It's, I would want to say, pretty late in the night at this point. Another friend of ours who is...
His family's from Sicily, but he was born in Brooklyn, raised there until he was 15, then moved back.
He speaks like perfect English.
He was also part of this group from this town.
He worked at the airport and he had walked in like 3 hours later, so
like, we went to the front of the pub to say hello to him. Back in the first room where we both left our phones in a dining room table. It wasn't just us, we all left our stuff. We all ended up just staying in that room for like 5 minutes, and you went to go take a photo with the lady that worked there. And I was like, wait, let me get my phone, I have a better phone. And I was gonna take a photo of her and Stella together. I went in the other room where we had dinner, and on the table I saw your phone and I saw my phone. I grabbed my phone.
It was kind of getting late at that point, so Vincenzo was
like... well, also Emily had to be at the airport the next morning to go back home.
Vincenzo was like, okay girls, you know, let's get going, you know, let's drop you guys off at your apartment. So like I go back into the room where we were eating dinner to grab my coat and my phone, and I noticed like my phone was gone, and at that point I was 100% sure that I left it on the table. So like I'm searching around for like a good 30 seconds. So as Felicita was coming towards me, like I looked at her and was like, did you take my phone? Because I thought maybe like she had, because like sometimes we grab each other's stuff like when we're leaving. And she was like, no, it's on the table. And I was like, yeah, I know, that's where I left it. Vincenzo came over because he was like, where are you girls? Like, why aren't we leaving now? And I was like, well, I know I left my phone here, but like I don't know where it's at. Like I lost my phone. Brooklyn was like, okay, what kind of phone do you have? And I was like, it's a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. And he was like, oh my goodness guys, we need to find this phone. These phones are worth like $1,000. And I was like so worried and like paranoid that he said the value of my phone, because I didn't know if someone stole it, but if it was stolen, it would just make like the incentive to keep the phone so much greater.
When he said that, Bruno was standing right there and heard it.
So like then everyone starts looking,
his brother,
including Mario and Bruno. They start looking.
The two boys that were playing cards. They were all like, "Don't worry, we have security cameras off." The brother was.
He started. Okay, so while he was like plugging things in and like trying to, because it's a really an old-fashioned system. Like while he was trying to look through the footage, everyone like searching the back room. So like Emily, Vincenzo, and Mario, they all sit down on the sofa. And meanwhile, Antonino, Vincenzo's like best friend, was like nonstop calling my phone. And I had my phone on vibration at this point too. And it was like only 9% left. Finally, Emily was like, "Oh, I hear it buzzing in the sofa." And everyone was like, "Quiet." And then we tried to listen for it again, but like she couldn't hear it again. But like just in case, everyone got up and like started searching through the sofa.
Even like no one really believed her.
Obviously no one found it.
I think it was in
Bruno's pocket at that point.
And that's why it was buzzing.
Because she was sitting right next to him.
I think this is when he's trying to shut it up from buzzing and he took a screenshot. He gets up and like just stands in the doorway.
We start like looking at the security footage, but the thing was there was a big storm the night before, which like,
or that morning too.
Yeah, which blew out the security footage.
The same storm canceled the train and why we couldn't get to Palermo for your job interview and the other video.
We weren't able to see the security footage. There was no like working security footage.
Once Bruno realized the security footage didn't work, that's when he goes home.
He goes home.
He was just hanging around.
I want to say about an hour and a half has passed.
It's getting really late now, and like really, Emily has to be at the airport in a couple hours because she was taking the really early flight. Emily just goes to the car and she's like, "I need a couple hours."
I think she started. She actually
like, "I need to sleep."
So Vincenzo and his friend
Antonino, and like Brooklyn and I think the bar owner,
yeah, that's right.
They all go to
Bruno's house.
They told us to go in the car with Emily.
So we were waiting in the car, and the pub owner later told us that like Vincenzo started like screaming at Bruno, like, "Give me the phone, like I know you have it." And like Bruno's parents came out.
He lives with his parents. Yeah. Like they swore by now like they didn't have it.
He doesn't have it.
They came back, they're like, "Don't worry girls, we're gonna find this phone for you. I have to get Emily to the airport tomorrow," which was the next day was Sunday. We're gonna start searching again.
Yeah, and they knew that like we couldn't come with them to search because like Sunday is family day, so we always spend time with the cousins on Sundays. So like we told them.
So we go to our apartment, get some sleep because that time it was like pretty late.
You were texting Antonino like
the next
Sunday, so like during that day, you were they were both like trying to figure out.
And after mass, someone told me about like the track of your phone.
Well, first we did like Google location because I had my location.
I signed into her Google account and like went into her like timeline.
It said last known location was at a pub. So like
I'm thinking that like it's in the pub. Like I wasn't worried. I'm thinking it's in the pub. This was all Sunday. We were in touch with them all day. So the next day is when we find out our grandfather was taken to the emergency room in the hospital and is not doing well. As soon as we heard that,
we wanted to come right away. That's when we also told our parents about my phone, and my mom like called T-Mobile and like immediately stopped the services.
Bought tickets to go home that night.
Monday night, like around midnight or like 2 in the morning of Tuesday, like super early,
is when I get the phone
call saying that our Nono had passed away.
That morning we went to his sisters, both his sisters,
and like told them the news. We basically spent like
the day with family.
All the morning with the family. And then around 2 o'clock, Antonino called her.
So like we're going home tomorrow. And
he's like, "Okay, but you guys definitely need to file the police report."
He's like, "I talked with Vincenzo."
Vincenzo and Antonino, they picked us up at around 4 o'clock. We went back to the police station in their town. I obviously like didn't explain anything because the police officer only spoke Italian. He didn't speak any English. So Vincenzo basically explained like the entire night, and he even gave Mario and Bruno's names to the police officer and like completely accused them. I signed my name at the bottom of the page.
So he told the whole story of what happened in the police report, and then you just signed your name.
I signed my name. I was so worried that I would have to go back to the U.S. without a phone. That was because the police officer, they put my phone serial number in their system, and once the guy who had my phone would charge it up, even if he got a new SIMS card, if they ran like a report and like a check to see where that serial number was, they'd be able to find it. So they said they were gonna wait a month to make sure that he fully charged it and had it on and was fully in use because they were gonna only run it one time. And then they dropped us off back at home.
We started just packing.
Yeah, cleaning up the house,
packing because we were leaving at 3 a.m. Wednesday morning.
So it's like 9:15 when you get a text from Vincenzo saying,
he sent me the picture of the police report because he didn't have a copy. He had a copy and the police had a copy. So also, I just want to say in the screenshots, all the times are off because add 7 hours to the times.
Yeah, because it's giving us American time now. She sent like a photo front and back, and then he sends back like
just a photo of her phone with a smiley face
and says, "We're coming there to give you." Like, we're like, wait, did you find it at the pub? Like,
I started screaming.
Vincenzo and Antonino, they come to pick us up. They didn't tell us who had the phone, but we know exactly it was Bruno.
Tell us.
They wouldn't tell us because they didn't want me to like continue to press charges. I told them I wouldn't, but they just still didn't like confirm it.
I'm like, what happened? Once I find out that we went to the police, the parents of Bruno call up our friend Vincenzo and say,
if you drop the charges, we'll give you back the phone, like that type of thing. We get into the car, and I was like, what happened? What happened? Were we right? Was it Bruno? And he wouldn't confirm who it was.
Like, he got even Antonino had like a little smile on his face.
An awkward smile. So we had to go back to their town police station, and we had to like fix the report and like drop the charges, basically saying like, oh, I misplaced it. I put it on the I put it on the table, but it like had fallen, and we found it later. Like it wasn't their fault. Blah 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 blah.
The police officer knew the true story because as soon as he came in and sat down, he's like, I'll make up a fantasy. Like,
yeah, like, you know, you have to create a fantasy, which doesn't sound right in English, but I understood what he was talking about.
He came home from the police station at like 10:30, then finished packing, back up at 3.
And then woke up at 3 in the morning to go back to the airport and fly home.
I just want to say something. The reason why Vincenzo and Antonino like helped us and were so involved, like even after, because we weren't even friends with them. I mean,
as much.
We were friends with Emily. Yeah. Their cousins. They were saying like, you were in our town.
Like they felt responsible. They felt like they had an obligation to make sure that we were safe when we were hanging out with them.
It was just so nice of them like to continue to help us and like pick us up and do all this even after like Emily left.
Yes, we're very grateful.
Like you wouldn't have your phone
There's
back.
absolutely no way I'd have my phone back right now. So it was a crazy experience right before getting home, but I'm glad I have my phone back and I'm glad that everything worked out. I feel like this is our craziest travel story that we've ever had, and we've traveled quite a bit. Let us know if you guys have had like something crazy happen to you while traveling, or I don't know, just like
that
you hear of these travel horror stories, but like nothing like that has ever happened to us before, and like this was kind of like an awakening. Like these things do actually happen. Always be vigilant. Always be vigilant. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Ciao. So American Girl's gonna be Teresa, Terrence,
Tabitha, Tabby,
Antonio.